Hi, everybody. This is Joanna, Early Morning Ascension Show. And we're so happy to bring another episode. Hopefully it's going to be really, really short because I have appointments. But we wanted to, I wanted to, my team is, my soul is now that we're all integrated as a soul. So very happy and excited that the connecting of the dots in my soul is so much more online. It's nice to feel them with me. All of my teams and all of the beings that are always walking with me, Archangel Michael and the federations and the councils of light, the light ships that are always with me, always have light ships that are following me wherever I go. And we've been talking about allowing the courage and the honor of who you are to come forward in miraculous ways as a part of the divine human healing, and how we integrate that healing in our own sharing, in our own releasing of these limiting stories. Everything is moving on this kind of spherical now moment. It's this beautiful experience as our universes are shifting dimensions, threads by threads by threads of dimensional templates. We're moving ourselves into these arenas of really releasing the layers of all that we are, shifting our beingness of the multidimensionality of what we are into these templates of dimensional play. And when you tear away all of the layers of your experiences, because the soul is experience, the physical reality is illusory, and your soul goes through experiences. Your soul is a multidimensional experience that experiences all of the wounding from all of those generations on any world to do with the world collective energy of separation here. And so in any one cycle, as they were showing me yesterday, the evolution of human collective ascension, the global planetary collective ascension, is releasing subjugation at the very deepest and steepest levels. That subjugation is linked to, as well as all of you know, the multidimensional omnipresent, the universe. Let me get my little sheet here. I had them all in last night. Well, there's my sheet. Where's my little sheet? Is it going to be here? There it is. As we all know, as our universe right here is this band, we're a multiverse, and everything is affected, the micro macro, everything is an evolutionary experience. We are in essence micro macro. This would be me, and this would be someone in my circle and someone in my circle. We're all evolving as the multiverse. This is the multiverse perspective that I was shown, and this is a side perspective, and the top down would be the toroidal experience of the sphere, and that is how the now moment experience is. So right now, this portion of our universe is now threading into, through the infinity, is being threaded up into a higher vibrational universe. And these are by divine plan, by divine design, through the light programs, the councils, and all of the heavenly programs through Source Creator. How we express ourselves, experience ourselves, and explore ourselves as the most expansive, dynamic, multidimensional beings that are physics and love. The physics of science and the spirit of science is the love vibration, is the harmonic code that is spirit, coded in all things, all aspects of life, all dimensions, all degrees, all levels, the infinite within the infinite within the infinite of life systems. We are energetic, sacred geometry at all levels, and all levels are affecting the transparency. The more transparent we are, the more refined our light becomes. That light quotient becomes more refined, which means that it's a higher vibrational thread of refinement. Just like as if you're eating junk food as opposed to really pure and refined food, it all affects everything to the quotient that you're going to carry as light. And that quotient of light carries great codes of intelligence, great codes of evolutionary expansiveness that link to all star systems. Through your soul, through your ancestors that feed through the Earth Star Ascension, your Earth Soul Star chakra, all of those energies and wisdoms come to harmonize, and you assimilating your light every day, doing your daily self-care, how you're harmonizing all your experiences, all of that is in play with who you are becoming as a more transparent, truthful being of you as spirit. We say that with great profundity, because your truth is going to be ever changing the more you grow into the universal omnipresent being of you, as you're connecting the dots of you, as you're calling in all of those soul fragments of you at the universal omnipresent level. And spirit says, wow, you're taking on so much consciousness light codes. We can now thread you in this experience because you're needed here, here, and here. However, they're also showing me right now that you do also have the potential to well, it's teleport, but it's not how we see it. They're just saying that because that's what most of you use, is the word of teleport or quantum jump. You're able to shift on these different timelines because you have completed the understanding of universal travel and rules and laws within that quotient of band experience. Because remember, all the physical is that dimensional band of understanding and consciousness creating itself in material form. And everybody agrees in that material dimensional experience, all those that are still at a 3D consciousness level will create that physical 3D experience, and so on and so forth. And moving through the lessons and the karma that each soul does, then the higher self and the soul says, okay, you've cleared enough karma, let's move you up, because you're taking on that great light and you're living from all the lessons that you've learned, the assimilation of it. You then move and shift yourself through your guides and your teams in the soul and mother, father, and all that you're belonging with, your soul's destiny, your soul's plan, where and what you're excited to explore and express and also add to the collective. You're shifting these teleplate shifts in all moments. It's ever changing. It's so dynamic and it's so vast and it's so wide and it's so multidimensional at the most minute experience of life. It's really profound, and I get so excited about, because I can see and sense these things at the level that I can. So I can explain it in the best way that we can of how profound this lifetime is, how profound your own courageous soul story is, and how each and every one of you are in all moments refining the truth of your soul and knowing that everything that you move through is purposeful to allow you that greatest harmonious strength and empowerment and the courage of who you are as your story. I've kept many, that truth is so profound because the more that you stand in it, the more that you're allowing yourself to release the deepest, densest, darkest stories that are held in density on your chakra systems, that are, we call them in the human words and terms as traumas or blocks. And if you're a seer, or if you're a light healer, and if you're an evolutionarist, or you're a vibrational healer or telepath, you can see the densities in the fields and the breaks in the fields, or the cuts in the field, they look like lightning, in the various causal fields where the damages and the traumas that occurred. You can also see them in the chakras if there is any traumas like sexual abuse and things like that, how the body and the vessel, which is spirit, which is God, which is sacred, how you use the body is also showing and can be seen as the color and the vibration that you hold, because everything is, again, the sacred geometry of spirit. We are all spirit. We always have been, always will be. Knowing and understanding this, claiming and owning it, working and assimilating moment for moment as the brilliance of who you are, self-guidance, self-love, self-initiation, Metatronic light, you're always actualizing yourself in all moments. Self-actualization is accepting and honoring all that you are in all moments, and then assimilating that new behavior through your own choice of who you are as spirit. Not taking your beliefs, your direction, your guidance from anything outside of you. Because your Christedness means that you're creating your reality in the highest version of who you are from within as without. And those of us that are code breakers, we're releasing all that was conformity, that was really steeped in many grandiose plans of mental manipulation and fear programs that we're releasing and letting go of. And they're really profound, and they're steeped through eons of greed and control and egocentricity and oligarchy and all the things that we're all steeped in throughout our social systems. So it's really, really profound what we're doing. And it's get really excited, because there's so many millions and millions and millions of you that will eventually watch videos just like this, and videos of ours, to know that regardless of what conformity and what limitations and what steeped projections that you are seeing in your reality, there is that equal core wound, no matter what planet it had come from, that is a part of your soul to transcend it and release it. So to resist it, to fight against it, to make yourself small of it, or to be in fear of it, only creates that same cycle of fear and separation. When you're calling it in as your oneness and just accepting it for what it is, it holds no power over you. And that's why, because of the damages done and the abuses that have occurred for eons, it triggers those memories in the cells, it triggers those memories in the Akash, it triggers those memories in the soul that bring up those fear experiences. But once you release the fear, it holds no power over you. We might say, because I am a divine feminine, and we all know as divine feminines, you're most often than not, just as an example of some of the stories that are my personal stories that I'm courageously bringing forward as an example, that you are able, as the equal strength and equal opportunity and capabilities, to transcend such deep, deep subjugations that so many weren't able to transcend. And I'm so lucky that I had the help and the support that I did, but also you too, to transcend really deep subjugations and limitations. that you also have that alliance with light. It is an alliance with light, and it is the alliance of who you are with spirit, to stay connected and intact as often as possible when you're facing those deepest fears, and they're not easy. I often didn't think throughout my whole entire process of these last 8 years, if I had have known what I would have gone through, I don't know if I would have even gone through it, because it was so damaging at so many levels. But now I'm using it as, I'm now feeding it, and I'm creating that new story as my greatest strength and empowerment. And you can only do that when you have all of those deep healing moments where you're releasing the pain and the anger and the sadness and the disappointment and the disengagement of true connected at heart level. Because all of those stories of subjugation and fear and mental manipulation and emotional manipulation, all the things that happen throughout our whole life, even when we're children, we're fed so many manipulations and subtleties by giving our power away to dogma, by giving our power away to outside social experiences. All of those giving our power away to find out who we are and to create that self-worth and that self-direction and that self-creation. Who am I as a self? Who am I as a personality that's creative and joyful and perfect? We're giving all of that power away to sort out who we are. And that's disintegration of who we are as spirit. We are born perfect with a beautiful code of infinite diversity and creativity. And we can now use those as beautiful strengths to transcend into the higher realms of experience. Those are the only ways that we activate all of those codes from all other realms. My usage of light language is different than any other realm of light language, because my soul's blueprint and imprint is different, because I've been here different lengths of time and different roles and different experiences. And every moment I can work with my teams to create different imprints and different veils and different overlays. So it's constantly changing. The evolution process is expansive and dynamic and beautiful. My sole purpose is to come forward and to speak and inspire and empower and encourage God's art. God's art is in all things. The art that God is all evolution in the infinite number of ways that any one being, any one human can experience it. As we do so, we activate those codes of evolution in all aspects of our reality. We then activate the grounds and the earth and the air and the trees and the forest, and we activate those sacred codes that our children are waiting for. Our children are basically sitting in this world of mental numbness because they are not being multidimensionally inspired. And part of my soul story as the song of God and the beauty of God and singing and being a part of God's gracious song in all things, of all things that a source creator at the highest levels of all creative experiences, I'm able to see it and sense it and feel it and then express it in the best ways that I can. But in doing so, I had to go through so many densities that were beyond understanding. That's part of the healing process, is to accept that those occurrences did happen. And in that veiling and peeling back, you get to release that story that is held in the chakras that are a part of, as they were showing me this morning, as I was asking them what would be the highest advantage of me bringing some of these stories that I've never talked about before. But they're showing me that it will help so many people in expressing these stories of self-healing, because I've healed myself. There has been no other person or being with me besides my consciousness teams and spirit. And I've healed myself fully and completely. And every day is a new evolution of who I am in exploration. I'm now getting to that level and that layer of myself where I'm remembering and I'm seeing and I'm feeling myself as the inner child. And that is so divine and initiating. That's that portal to the fifth dimension, because I've finally released all of those layers of subjugation, ostracization, bullying, persecution, all of those fears and wounds that we all come as the package of who we are. And each soul experiences it different based on what their store lineage is, what their family lineage is, and what has not been cleared from their family karma. And of course, your choices moment for moment, if you're building karma by not making choices of benevolence, or you're taking on anybody else's stories that you can simply just send back and burdens of others, that's not yours to carry. And that's just understanding yourself as a multidimensional being, creating that intimacy of your own soul's blueprint, keeping in touch with your teams so that your teams can tell you in any moment, that's not yours, send it back, send it back, send it back. Because those of us that are empaths and those of us that have grown up in dysfunctional experiences end up attracting the same type of people that just repeat those stories and those damaging cycles of imbalance and toxicity, narcissism, grandiose narcissism, Oedipal energies, Oedipal issues, all energies that are the imbalance of who we are at a psychosis experience, where we're separating ourselves from the self that we need to define. Nobody else defines us who we are. But because we've been in such warped societies of dysfunction, giving our power away in every multidimensional level, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, giving our power away for others to define who we are, having to come up with certain initiations and things to do things a certain way to be accepted and be valued and honored. And then we're given the value system where you're given things when you produce well, and you're given things if you work well, and you're given things if you're given raises, and all of these accolades that you do to get things and work for things. They're the absolute opposite and the desecration of who we are as spirit. You don't have to prove or validate yourself to anyone. You are who you are in the story of who you are with spirit, and spirit knows you're phenomenal. And there's no outside nothing. So cut all those cords. Anything and any experience where you're having to defend yourself constantly and constantly fight for your right just to exist, and fight for your right to be heard, and fight for your right to be expressive and who you are as spirit, cut yourself loose, because those are toxic situations that degrade who you are as spirit. Seek those people that will be in honor of who you are, that will be in honor of what you need to express, to be in honor of who you are as the creative expression. And all of us have gone through those since we were children, because we've been conformed out of our creativity. We've been conformed out of our body, our sacredness of our body, through dysfunctional and neglectful experiences like molestation or abuse. And those are just the degradations of who we are as spirit, that nobody teaches us how to bring all of that energy back to self and start really designing and redesigning ourselves as spirit. The understanding of spirit, of who are we, claiming all of our soul's consciousness, all of our soul's creativity, all of our soul's divine benevolence in the mental and emotional intelligence of who we are. We're infinite beings of light, and we can be activated every time that we go, in all moments and all times that we gather all that we are forward to reharmonize it and assimilate it anew. And we are the only ones that can do that. I'm offering and teaching it from all of the divine experiences that I've gone through, and knowing that you can do this. No matter what you are faced with, you can go within and reclaim all of those parts of yourself that you gave away seemingly unknowingly, because you were playing a part in the 3D games of who has more energy and power, because it makes others feel more important. It makes others feel more needed. It makes others feel more special. And all of those experiences that are the degradation of the sense of self. And they come in infinite number of packages. They're not just one package, and you can't just define it as one thing, and there's no blame in any of it. These are the powerful soul stories that each and every human goes through. So some of the main themes of my experience were not only the dysfunction that I grew up with, that so many millions and millions and billions of people move through, is the the internal child when you're at your youngest and you're born as a beautiful crystalline being. In my experience as being a high vibrational crystalline child, and many aspects of many universes and heavens coming forward as a vessel of light to present in a very dysfunctional environment the potentials to do different and to do better. And I was always the instigator of truth, always, bringing forward truth and challenging when things didn't seem fair and unfair, and how people treated each other. I could see through things. I could precognate. I could sense when things were going to happen. I was very telepathic and psychic at many different levels. I was able to speak with the forests and the angels in the biosphere. I was able to speak with spirit and God at very early ages. I was able to speak and know that there were beings, multidimensional consciousness beings around me at all times, anywhere I went. There was always a communication that I had, and that was my most experiential divine importance of who I was. It defined who I was. Then when you're going through these growing up through conformed systems of limitation and fear through 3D, all of our systems of social experience take those uniquenesses out of us, because that's just the environments that we grow in. But nobody teaches us from the earliest age that the environments don't affect us, that we are the ones that are affecting our environments. We had it all backwards. That's the upside down effect that we've been talking about, is to really grow within that heart space of diversity of spirit of who we are, without having anything define our spirit through any type of package or conformity or rule or law, for we are the infinite spirit and cannot be packaged. Can't be. And to notice and be very aware and very discerning of your intuitive body and your intuitive senses, and really start harmonizing and really loving your intuitive body, your mental body, your emotional body, so that all of your body and all of your fields and all of your harmony is absolutely refined to the point that whenever you're in an experience vibrationally, whether it's words, whether it's an interaction, whether it's an engagement, that you know at the subtlest level what is an illusion and what is being offered as an energy to pull you into a lower vibration. of belief, because it's a story that's wanting to thread you back into a lower vibrational belief. And that's when you start getting the mental fog and the mental deconstruction about who you truly are as spirit. And those are all those 3D mental viruses, mental programs of lack and limitation, fear and greed, who's better, who's worse, who's this, who's that, whose story is right, whose story is wrong, gets all confused, and everybody's sitting in the mental fog going, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And that is mental abuse. There's many that are very good at it, and they know what they're doing when they do it. Deflection. They know what they're doing when they do it. They're very good at it. And they just rearrange energy so that those that are involved are absolutely confused about what's going on, and they lose their sense of self. And it's done over and over and over and over again. And then it's coupled with, degrading and belittling comments, and degrading and belittling behavior, and degrading and belittling energies back and forth in that environment, which break down the constructs of who you are as spirit, so that you have to rebuild yourself and reconstruct yourself right from the ground up. And I've done it several times, constantly doing it every day, because of all the environments that I was in that were completely degrading on every level. And anytime that I would go through, whether it's the social systems or whether it's their intimate circles and relationships, going forward and speaking of these truths that I absolutely knew, and my teams were showing me, and my intuitions were absolutely showing me, this is what's going on behind the scenes. This is what's going on behind the scenes. This is what's going on behind the scenes. And your teams are showing you, and your intuitions are showing you. And every time you brought it forward, you were then degraded even more. And so this is, millions and millions are going through this, because that's the mental fog of all these fear programs. And it's the mental fog of dysfunctional programs of winning and losing, misogyny, and all of those degrading systems where the value is not on spirit. The value of who we are as spirit is perfect beings of light. And nobody tells us who we are. Nobody plays my teams gave me this word today, which was kind of shocking, was mind scraping. And these mental programs and those that are, living within it and manipulating it and, being the purveyors of those mind scraping programs, they know what they're doing, and they do it with great care and intention to mind scrape. To scrape your minds of what you thought you knew, and then give you this experience of what they are wanting you to believe in and contribute to, because it serves them. That's how they gain their access to power and money and energy and light. And it's done in an infinite number of ways, and it's done at an underground level. And I've had the experience of being a participant in receiving the experiences of it. And it's damaging on all multidimensional layers and levels. And I say it with great pride now, because now those stories don't hold fear over me. There's no fear in that anymore. It's an illusion. It's not there, and I'm not giving it access to who I am as a being anymore. That story can no longer take from my energy. It can no longer take from my power. It can no longer take from who I am as light, because I've resolved that story. That's what was really important that they wanted me to show today, and why coming forward and sharing your stories of transmuting those and being really discerning and refine your discernment to the point that, I know that's not a truth. I'm not buying into that. You're not going to have my energy investment. That's your story, and you need to move on. And really set those firm boundaries of what you engage with and invest in, because those stories will try and come back and manipulate a different version of truth, because it's still not your truth. They're trying to get you to buy into their truth. And their truth is a manipulation of morals and values. And so really discern who you are. Really discern what feels good and what feels right. And again, it's not us and them. These are the vibrational stories that are still trying to survive in their world that is crumbling. So they're just fear viruses, and those fear viruses need energy to stay surviving. And so really discern and just say, cut those energies off. They know I'm not investing in you. You're not going to get my light, my power, or my energy by not investing, not engaging. So that's where you have to reclaim all your power, whether it's any social system, dogma, government, whatever it might be, but do it in a divine and graceful way where you're holding your light and your grace and your integrity. And you're saying, no, my mind is absolutely pure in who I am. Spirit feeds my mind. Spirit nourishes my mind. My fields are clear. I'm taking care of myself. I know who I am as a multidimensional being. I'm grounding with Gaia. I have the power of my heart, my mind, and my body and soul, and nothing and no one and no consciousness has access to me. Nothing will touch my consciousness. Nothing will touch my chakras. Nothing will warp my mind, and nothing will mind scrape me. And to think of how such systems and such experiences have been done will come out and will be deploring, that there was absolute intention that there's things like this going on, and people take great care. and they watch and they see what changes are going about in the people that are having this done to them. And they watch. You know, how are they acting today? Are they taking the, are they being affected by the negative energy we're sending them, and the mental spells and the mental energies that we're sending them? And then they take notes. How are they behaving? Is it different? And they're watching to see what deviations are there from their joy and their light. You know, is it being sent to them? Are they acting any less, any dark? Are they getting shifted in their energy? And to think that there's things like that are going on, and they're a part of the game, right? And so I've experienced it, and I've felt it. I feel everything. I feel it all. There was things going on in other dimensional realms. Again, everything is a dimensional realm based on the consciousness, right? And you're broken into pieces and parts based on where the wounding occurs. That's called soul fragments. That's why when you go through a trauma, many of the PTSD, you have to return to the site where that PTSD occurred. And then you have to claim that part of you back to reclaim that power and that light. So that's part of the healing process, but it's only when you're ready. You can't force yourself when you're not ready. That type of healing takes, like me, my PTSD, it's layers and layers and layers of the trauma and the damage that was done. And so we have to be aware that that's just some of the mental viruses and the mental things that go on at a very subtle level. And it brings this mental fog where you're not even sure if you're right and who's wrong. That's their intention. Their intention of those mental games and the manipulations that occur on the multidimensional level, that's their intention, is so that humanity questions who they are. Humanity questions their own truth of self, who they are as spirit. Humanity questions that they can heal their body. Humanity questions, wow, I am abundant always. I can create whatever I want. I don't need your story. Because when there's no investment in that energy, then it disappears. And so they're scrambling now to get that energy. They're scrambling now to get the control. They're scrambling now to bring more fear and limitation in. So just discern on what stories you choose to exchange in, because they happen in a household level. They happen in the household level. And that's where it was so surprising and so damaging and deconstructing and defeating. Because it didn't matter how much light that you tried to bring to the family and bring to the foundation, no matter how much you tried to pour into a positive experience, there was other agendas that were going on to absolutely deconstruct and annihilate the spirit. Because then that spirit, the growing of the spirit, and the growing of the light, and the growing of individuality, the growing of self-sovereignty, the growing of self-enhancement, the growing of self-direction, anything that is self takes itself away from that energy that wants to feed on being in control and being the one that is right and being the one that is always in the control of all the energy. It's always about energy. And energy is various things: money, resources, attention, power, and it just feeds itself. That's why it's done at an ego level. Once that mental program is ripped up, then it's like, okay, well, who the crap am I? Then you got to go back within in spirit and start recreating yourself. Then you're recreating yourself right from scratch. And you bring yourself back to, when you do start recreating yourself, you always return back to the inner child. Well, what gave me real pleasure and joy? When did that illusion start of who I thought I was? When did I start wanting to make everybody happy, a people pleaser? When you're a people pleaser, you're absolutely buying into other people's programs of gaining your energy. You know, and as empaths and narcissisms, those are the natural dysfunctional experiences. And we say narcissism with a grand experience of how we learn our biggest lessons. So honor those experiences. And there's wounding behind every narcissist. There's deep wounding that must be healed. And we learn so much in those experiences. So it's all held equally valuable. It really, really is. And I say that with great honor that I've gone through everything that I've gone through with each person I've been through. And I absolutely send the highest level of forgiveness to everybody that ever tried to harm me and deconstruct me as a spirit. That's for their intentions. And I send them equal forgiveness and love. Those that defile me and debase me and bring blasphemy to my name because I shine light and I know what I'm talking about at a very deep level that most don't understand. And that's okay. I send them the highest light and love. We're one. I know we're one. But it doesn't hold any power over me anymore. And that took me a lot. I mean, go back on my videos, it took a lot because there was so much pain and so much damage. And every time I came forward to present a video, I did it in the most powerful and honorable way. Say, you know what, I'm going to do this because there's so many people that are going through this that just don't know how to talk about it and just don't know how to understand it. So discern the level of what's going on in your house. Is it a truthful spiritual level where everyone is held in sovereign freedom and liberation? Are the children being upheld and inspired to be their highest creative self? Is there any mental projections and mental mind games or mental manipulations or any mental belief systems that slowly thread and weave in lack of morals and values? And it happens gradually over time. Just like our society that thinks video games of violence and destruction and blowing limbs everywhere is okay. We got to that point where that was normalized. And those were mental viruses that allowed us to say, well, it's just a game. Then when you watch your children play such games, it's like, why would it be okay? Or did we demoralize ourselves in that way? So it happens gradually over time. So pay attention to when these statements in the home and these statements in your environment are slowly threading in the demoralizing and the devaluing topics, words, questions, and return to center and say, no, all life is valued. Let's talk about the valuing of life. Let's talk about the valuing of each person's perspective. Let's talk about the valuing that everybody's got these wounds, and we're not going to keep slipping back into dysfunctional experiences because that's where everyone is comfortable, because some just don't want to change, and that's okay. So then separate yourself and have them go work on their stuff while you continue to work on your stuff. You don't have to stay in something, as hard as it is, even if for a mother and a divine feminine who is making probably 1/10 of what the masculine is. And there's many things going on in the outside world as far as abuse of power that is like that. The majority of the people in the workforce are divine masculine, and there's a lot of abuse of power. And there's a lot of beings, a lot of women that are being taken advantage of because they're having to start from scratch, from way down at the bottom of the pool, and try and build themselves a life in and out of working, in and out of the family, in and out of supporting the children, in and out of running daycare and all of these things that a divine feminine does, plus build a business, plus start a bank account, plus earn a bank account and a savings, plus get a vehicle under their own name. There's so much that a divine feminine has to do that is not even seen on the outer levels. And those of all will be rewritten to be also including any vibrational, mental, and emotional manipulations that have been done in the scraping of one's sense of self. I mean, they're profound stories. Your stories are courageous. And there's millions and billions of people that are going through this that have never been taught how to self-heal. Don't even know how to talk about this stuff. When you're walking around yourself going, no, that doesn't sound right. Anytime where you discern yourself and you wake up to that, because your fields will alert you. Your fields will alert you when something doesn't sound right. When you're being fed an illusion of a story that is slowly taking apart the moral and the value of holding yourself as sacred, as your speech as being sacred, your offering as sacred, those are demoralizing and devaluing and deconstructing who you are as spirit. You came here as perfect. And why would we want to feed those types of energies to our children, where they walk around as these mental, kind of beings that are completely closed off at their heart, and that's the intention. So they know what they're doing. These programs and these viruses of mental manipulation know what they're doing, and they even, make little. I was shown, people watching, watching to see how I would be affected by the black magic and the spells and all of these things that were being done. The ridicule and all of these things, and how is she reacting today? Is she behaving any differently? Did the spell work? And all of these things that people watch to see if I'm moving through their degradation of conditioning. It makes you wonder, why would we want to put that much damage on someone? Why would we want to ever see someone in deconstruction of who they are? Why would we ever want to have someone question the purity of who they are? Why would we ever want anyone to think they're not perfect? And we say perfect in the divine. When you're born, that baby is born, you're perfect. Why would we want that child and that divine feminine that's got really great gifts, that's really special? Why would we not want that divine feminine not to know that she's perfect and she has many great wisdoms to help people? Because those words are the vibration of spirit, and that vibrational story changes creation and how we look at it. The subtleties of dysfunction and how they tear apart who we are as divine beings of perfection, and how we are self-guided and sovereign to access all realms of play. And so use your stories of great strength. use your stories of great courage, because within that lesson, there is your greatest empowerment and encouragement. And know and discern when something doesn't feel right and sound right to you, and disengage, detach. And then you get to flow and create your vortex of what really feels good, and start reaffirming and re-entraining yourself into higher vibrational entanglement and engagement. And speak your story. The expressions of of my story was to know who you are at the deepest level, and not take any outside story as greater than your own. Not to take any outside fraction as greater than your own. You're here to change it. You're here to uplift it. You're here to inspire light in it. And the only way to do that is to deconstruct yourself through all of the deepest systems of subjugation that our human collective has, and why it caused such pain to me. Because I know heaven. I speak of heaven. I know the perfection of a flower and an insect. I can see it and I can feel it, and I can put my consciousness right inside of it. And the manipulation systems that we have of, the many manipulation games, that the mental manipulation projections and things that people do at a mental level, an emotional level, at a spiritual level. We say spiritual, we say energetic, because they're just using energy to get their agendas met. They're desensitizing us of the perfection of spirit. And it happens at a social level. And this is what we're now awakening to. But we can do it in a way that's really graceful and integrous of the perfection of our spirit. We want to constantly thread ourselves back to the perfection of who we were when we were born, and not be desensitized out of that perfection, because it's just a social norm virus that says that these things about blowing humans up and mind scraping humans of their perfection, and mind scraping humans of their diversity, and mind scraping humans of their will to hand over money to subjugatory systems, and control to subjugatory systems, in their bodies to subjugatory systems. They are the steepest illusions that are not there. And they're fighting for their life, because it's a controlling energy. That controlling energy needs energy. So if you're not feeding it, it doesn't exist. So discern, again, the intention, the direction, and the focus of where you're putting your energy, and really allow yourself to say no to any relationships, any circles, or any energies that continually want to feed that. Right? It's okay that there's wounding there, but if they're not coming out of that wounding, absolutely devoting themselves to healing those types of experiences of manipulation, and they're not devoting themselves to healing those manipulative patterns and habits, because it's ego, it's feeding ego instead of feeding spirit. And so that is the difference that we've never been taught or told. So this is all new for everybody. So there's no blame or shame, because nobody's been taught these things, but it's happening at a very subtle level, in families, in dogma, in everywhere. Because that's what we're coming from. And I've been through it on that multidimensional level, socially, familially, Akash and lineage. I've been through it all. I've experienced every level of manipulation, every level of it. And I can sense things at a minute level. I can sense it. That's why I can talk about it. And so use it. I'm out of that phase now where the whole story doesn't hold power over me anymore. And I've released those stories. I'm okay to talk about it now. And this is why my team said, it's okay for you to talk about it now, because when you're not talking about it, because I wanted to, my intention was to not talk about it, so that, to save grace for every single experience of my story, and to keep it honored and safe. But they were showing me that it was only holding me back, because it was giving that story power for me not to fully express who I was. And it needs to be expressed, because there's millions of people going through it at various levels, in various ways of their consciousness being degraded. And it's time to wake up. Time to really wake up to who we are as divine beings of Metatronic light, and how able we are to heal ourselves when you don't have any money, you don't have any support, and you don't have anybody with you, and you're going through manipulation at the deepest and steepest and most damaging levels. I've been there. When nobody believes in you, when nobody believes what you're saying, and they absolutely start degrading your story to make you even feel as if you're the one that's crazy, when absolutely all of those things were going on, and your teams were showing you at every level. And they will come out into the forefront, because all will be bathed. All will be bathed. There will be nothing hidden. And no matter how much any experience thinks that they're hiding, or they're not bringing forward any evidence or whatever thing, like, it will all come out in some way, somehow. The energies will have to be transmuted. You can't hide anything. The energy has to be transmuted. And so part of my transmuting is releasing that story, so it holds no more power over me. And so it's about the expression of who you are. Again, when you're fully expressing your spirit without being subjugated, without being hindered, without hiding yourself behind a story because you're wanting to protect, certain energies, you're wanting to protect your part in that energy, then it must be released and transmuted. You can't hang on to anything. That story must be released at every vibrational level. And that's why when you do have PTSD and certain traumas, you sometimes have to go back to that experiential site and reclaim that part of yourself to know that it doesn't hold power over you anymore. That trauma has been healed by loving yourself so deeply that it no longer affects you. No person and no consciousness and no group, no mental program, any mental program, it doesn't matter if there's 1,000 beings in that program. It doesn't matter. Nothing ever, ever, ever can touch your consciousness when you are fully in alignment of who you are as a multidimensional being and you align in the pillar of who you are, spirit. Nothing and no one. And that's what Jesus showed me when I was in my darkest moment. I said, Jesus, I don't know what's going on. All I know is that I know what I'm being shown. I know what I'm being seen. And nothing on the outside world is coming to my rescue here and showing me that, yes, this is evidence. Yes, this is proof. Yes, this is what's going on. Just spirit was doing it. And that's what a master has to walk through, because you have to trust spirit just enough that spirit will lead you through the darkness and everything will come crumbling down when you're out. Trust it. Can you trust it? Because there will be those that will be going through the same thing saying, wow, I went through the same thing as you did. So I can do it. You can too. And so it's the destroying and the deconstructing of the safety of who you are, because that's what the manipulations do. It takes, it eats away that little bit of safety that you are in spirit and you are in light. And then those tiny little comments about your light, those tiny little comments about who you think you are and what you think you're manifesting, the benevolence is coming to you, and all those little comments that chip away at who you are in spirit and the brilliance of who you are. And all of you that are beautiful crystalline beings and all of you that are beautiful rainbow children, you all get those little comments and we all experience them. Again, there's no blame. But those comments are the ones that pull away at your safety. Are you safe in expressing who you are? I am. I'm totally safe in expressing who I am. Spirit has said, it's time. Express who you are. We've got you. You've walked through the darkest of dark and we pulled you through, didn't we? And I said, absolutely. Nothing can harm you. So tell your story. It holds no power over you. When you give your power to that story still holds and you're still carrying that fear. So release the fear. It's just an illusion. There's stories that people want you to believe in. And then when you create fear around it, like, oh, something's going to happen and I'm not going to have enough money for rent. And how am I going to go out on my own, even though it's really, really hard because, you haven't built your business and you haven't got that steady income. There are laws that are now going to start to protect you. And we are going to be a part of helping rewrite those laws of any mental, emotional, and energetic manipulation. And I'm going to be a part of rewriting those laws because we are more energy than anything else. And we need to have our values of who we are as spirit honored. We're Metatronic light and we will be honored. And same too as every child. Every child is honored. Their light will never be tampered with. Their light and their potential of who they are as sacred will never be tampered with. And I set this foundation for 5D Earth. I'm talking about it. I'm the first one talking about it because I've been through it. And there's so many people that need to know that they can too. So come forward. No child should have their light tampered with because of private selfish agendas of fear programs. So release all fear, tear those stories off. Say, I'm going to release this story today. I'm grounding with spirit. I'm calling the soul of all that I am, all of my ancestors and all of the legions across all heavens. And the legions will support me in peace. Remember, the highest of leaders. We are supported in peace. We are supported in multidimensional healing. We are supported in serving who we are as spirit. And I will be supported. The legions of the heavens are with me. There will be no child that will have their light tampered with. That is a new 5D law. And we will support that law. The heavens will support that law. And so too, I release this story that I was tampered with on many multidimensional levels. And I'm speaking about it. It's my story and it no longer holds fear over me. It no longer holds, temperance. No, I've tempered it. It's done. It's healed. And I forgive everybody involved. It's done. Like, what was that? Yeah, I've been there, done that. We've created a healing system around it. And we're all one. Are you ready to heal now? Right? It's yesterday's coffee. Now, are we healing? Can we heal? Can we let go of those illusions of 5D, of 3D? Can we heal them? Because you're just a wounded child that just wants and gets, right? You're just a wounded child that wants to play those stories, but you have wounds. At some point, they got to be healed, right? Got to be healed. And that's where you just sit. At some point, everyone will have to sit with what they've created. They will have to sit and they will have to face every choice they've made. This is how I've damaged someone. This is how I've hurt someone. This is how I've done this. This is how I've done that. And you got to sit with it. That's the only way you learn and you forgive yourself. Spirit will say, you want to clear your field from all the densities that you're in. You think you're not getting anywhere. You're being held back. You got blocks. You got blocks because you haven't healed and forgiven yourself for causing harm to someone through your intention. Everyone's going to have to face it. Subtly, insubtly, whatever's been done on any dimension, whether you're the victim or whether you're the one on the other end of it. Everyone goes through the same process. Nobody gets clearance. Nobody gets clearance. And because when I was a child, I came with great light. I saw things that people didn't see, and I was working my way of creativity. I could create something out of nothing 100 times over before people even had their lunch. Bring it, Spirit. I'm seeing things that people aren't seeing. That's okay. And I got conformed out at a really early age, but it still didn't squash who I was as Spirit. I was still whimsical. I was still crazy, and I was still singing in places where nobody would sing, and I was just jolly, and I was the best damn, mother anybody would, and I wish I had myself as a mother. I'm glad I had the mother I did. I mean, she's an amazing woman. She taught me so many powers. She's one of the strongest women I've ever met. And the vibrational experience that she provided me was just mind-boggling. She allowed me to be the very best of who I am, and she looks at me in awe now. And it's so nice that we have that relationship of reverence. That's what it's meant to be held. Your children are meant to see you and hold you in reverence. And through your expression of who you are as light, do you hold yourself in reverence? Can you express yourself in reverence? Can you know that you've gone head to toe with the deepest demons that you've had on other realms and other planets that want to control your life and take all your light and siphon your light? I mean, the programs that have been created and manipulated to take those that are headhunted for their light. It's mind-boggling that there is construction around this. Mind-boggling. And there's a number for your light. There's a number on your head. I had to move through that. I moved through the truth of that. And everyone that was involved, they got to go through their own healing. Heal yourself. The story holds no power over me anymore. And I send everybody the greatest light. And I'm coming forward to say, in all ways, absolutely without question, you are a divine being. You cannot be bought or sold. Your body cannot be degraded. Your mind cannot be degraded. Your spiritual experience of who you are as light, as divine matter, is absolutely, undeniably, incredibly, and miraculously in your own hands. Nobody can touch you, nobody can harm you, and nobody can break you. Trust me, they've tried. And then when I did fall, and when I did so hard to get up, wanting to get out so many times, that was their intention. How long would it take me to break? And jokes about how much she can take. Breaks my heart. But how different is it of what the society has the expectations for every child and their infinite, divine, sacred light? Their light is so sacred, and I'm going to be the advocate right till the last breath, till I transform myself. For as Jesus said, I am the only one that will take my body. And I take my body, and God has absolute ownership and commandment with me in it, of it. And that's why Jesus ascended, because he knew and he spoke his truth. No one was going to take his body. He was in absolute ownership of it. It's a sacred vessel. And therefore, thus then, dear lighted ones, I say to you, nothing can break you. And allow your mind to stay pure and sacred in the light that is spirit, and affirm yourself every day that you are thinking spirit, that you are commanding yourself as spirit. Let nothing hold you back. Let nothing make you small. Let nothing think you're not important. Let nothing think you are devalued, and hold your value on no one's definition. Nothing. Don't put your value of who you are outside of yourself. Bring it back within. Before you reach out, go within. Before you think you're small, go within. Before you think you're not valued and you're being manipulated into a lesser vibrational story because somebody else wants power over you, somebody else wants your money, somebody else wants your ideas, somebody else wants your business, somebody else wants your genius of your creative intellect. Tune into the subtleties. You're a powerful being. Stand up. Because spirit, make no mistake about this. Make no mistake, spirit knows all. Spirit provides every single person on every single level in every single situation. Spirit provides so many infinite possibilities for each person involved on all levels of all dimensions, on all energies, on all situations. Spirit provides enough experience and enough care and enough adoration to everyone involved, because Spirit understands what blessings come about even the most challenging experiences. It's all equal, it's all one. Spirit provides everybody involved enough and ample opportunity to do what is right at a soul level. Everybody's provided enough choice and opportunity. Everyone has been given enough choice and opportunity. The infinite number of videos and infinite number of ways that I brought these things forward in such a subtle way, for those to come forward and do what was right, to those to come forward and return monies, for those to come forward and to know that their ideas were not really their ideas, they took them from me. And watching me day after day to see how much I would change based on how much black magic they sent me. Would I hand over my mind to somebody else and succumb myself to their power? No, never. I'm one with God, I walk with God, always. My last breath, I will always walk with God, for I am that I am. And those stories don't hold power anymore. It's a part of my past, and wow, I'm learning to say, wow, holy crap, I got through that. When you look at it from a distance, like, holy crap, I went through that for a reason, because we are dynamic, multidimensional beings. The more refined you are and the more in love with you are, look at all those star systems that you come from, and you've been on every angle of those experiences, every angle of that infinity. You were the perpetrator. You were the person that was the victim. You were the person that was handing it out. So there's no blame. There's just owning your part and forgiving yourself and loving yourself, and start recreating and redesigning and rebuilding yourself as spirit. Let nothing break you. Spirit in the heavens, you walk with them. It's not a story of us and them. It's not a story of getting anything outside of, wow, I'm returning that power back to myself. The story holds no value on me anymore. It's who I am. I've been through it, let me tell you. And the subtle abuses are as damaging as a physical abuse. And that's why they're so much harder and more challenging to bring forward in the evidence, if you will, of healing. Because they're held and they're done in such a covert way that is such refined manipulation. And most often than not, people know what they're doing when they're doing it. And it's so hard to bring forward in the evidence of, wow, can you declare that you're really doing that? You know, and then you have to go through that recreating of who you are, because it's just an eternal game that goes nowhere. Nobody wins. You just get stuck back in the mental fog and the mental mess, because that's what their intention is, to keep drawing you back into those arguments and those discrepancies and those disruptions that go nowhere, because it's just an infinite loop of deflection. I didn't do anything wrong. Deflection. I didn't do anything wrong. Deflection. Meanwhile, they absolutely know what they're doing in the mental abuse experience and emotional, ripping your emotions apart one by one, or energetically, you know, and playing games and having people gang in on it. So we have to really discern at a very subtle level, right? Discern at a very subtle level. Where is your energy being directed and focused? And how can you really create beyond the limiting experiences? Because those stories might seem like a lot. And when I was in the middle of them, it was so hard. So hard, because there was nobody helping me. There was nobody saying, Joanna, I got you. Let me just do a healing on you. Joanna, I got you. I understand what you're going through. And that's why our teachings and our healings, we're here for you, for those discussions of, you know, those really covert experiences that so many go through at a social level, dogmatic level. There's so much that happened in dogma for eons now that is hidden under the carpet, if you will, that is going to have to be healed, you know, because we're healing it for the entire lineage. And that's what some of those mind control systems come from. They come steeped from way back in early Greek days. You know, when the first originations of, you know, religion and things started, it was because of the control of the information And people wanted that sacred information, the mystical information that was about the eternal life, that was about the sacredness of spirit. That's why spirit absolutely entrusts those that have been doing this for so long on many levels and many different forms and planets. They come forward with eons of practice. And spirit allows those sacred beings that information. So that, again, discerning how and who you invest in, and who and how you give energy to, and who and how you give ideas to. And we've gone through eons of those where it was held in the wrong hands and it was caused absolute destruction. Atlantis and Lemuria. Atlantis in particular. You know, and those are those, we all have to own that. When you're not using energy benevolently for the highest and the greatest good, anything that you do to get what you want in any way, physically, mentally, emotionally, resources, anything that is done in that way will have to be cleared by you or anybody that you're working with. But you can hold true and say that, well, that's theirs. You don't have to worry about that. Spirit will always make sure that equal scale is always restituted. Spirit is in charge of that, so you don't have to worry about that. But for those of us that it's been deep trauma over eons, deep trauma of persecution, deep trauma of energetic bullying, deep trauma of all of these other things that you work with and you heal yourself with, is that creative child, and you peel back those layers and you get in touch with that little girl and that little boy that's just running around perfectly diverse in their own creativity, and they get to express it without fear of the vibrational judgments that occur. And you stand strong with it and say, I don't care, judge me all you want, I know who I am, I don't have to buy into your story. And you just let all that go. Then you become a taller version, a better version of you. And your children see you walk in that because they need it too. They're facing a world where they're being judged and looked at, and they're being, fed into these supremacy, mind scraping experiences. Is that really what we want for our kids? Do we want them to walk around not knowing they're creative geniuses? Do we want them walking around just handing their power over to let their bodies be, devalued in such a way? So this is where the refinement of your stories really gives you that divine stepping stone and that empowerment. Because you're powerful, so own it. And those stories don't hold any layer of density on any of your chakras. You are in charge of releasing that story and saying, I'm done with that story, Spirit. I'm no longer going to hold victim of it in any way, thinking that there was that little, there was that notion of energy. And they asked me, they said, well, why are you holding on to that story? And I said, well, for a couple of reasons. And they said, okay, well, what if you were to release that? What would that allow you? And then all of a sudden, I just felt my heart chakra just start to open up. And they were giving me some very beautiful visions. And that heart chakra opening up was just like, well, why was I knew why I was hanging on to it. But then I thought, well, why would I do that? There's been no consideration given to me. There's been nobody looking out for me. There's been nobody, knocking at my door to say, hey, I'm here to help, that didn't want something for their own agenda. Nobody. Not one email, not one, not one visit, not one phone call to say, hey, I can, no, I was on my own all the way. Thank God for Spirit. Thank God for God. So you and God will redesign yourself. So nothing has any effect over you. You get to choose. Nothing has power over you. You get to choose. No program, no structure, no nothing, no rule can keep you confined in something that is ill, that does not make you feel safe, that does not make you feel as if you can express yourself fully and dynamically. You are here to break the codes of all conformity, 3D, and all things that are dense. Anything that limits you physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically and spiritually as the divine being of light that you are always going to enhance yourself. You are always going to assimilate in more expansive light. You are always going to assimilate in more programs of love, in greater programs of intelligence, of greater programs of creativity. Absolutely, you got to break those boundaries. Absolutely, you got to say, no, that's a story I'm not going to give into. It will not hold power over me. That will not bring any fear into my body and my vessel. My body is pure and sacred. My vessel is pure and sacred. All that I am is a multidimensional being. I am sacred. Nothing will touch me. And I walk with the heavens, and I will be with Lord Michael in every moment and every day. And I am protected in my sleep, and I'm protected in my work, and I'm protected as I walk. And I am the speaking of that truth. I survived it. I survived it. And so can you. Whatever manipulations, whatever games, whatever things are going on, you absolutely know them because you can feel them in your tummy, right in the middle of your gut. When you know that doesn't feel right, trust it and rearrange yourself out. Rearrange yourself out and do what your guides are guiding you to. because your guides are paving the way for you, and they will make sure that everyone is taken care of in between, and allow everyone to learn the lessons that they're meant to learn. When you've approached it at such various levels, and you've done you've gone forward in your highest and in your best, and you've brought the issues forward again and again and again and again and again, and nothing is resolved, then you know you can walk forward in knowing that you've done your best. You know that you can walk forward and saying, I gave everything, and still got taken from. And again, how much are you investing? To whom are you investing? Are you being returned in equal kind? Is it of equal spiritual service and essence? And if it's not, cut the cords, move on. They're not meant to be with you. And you're not meant to continually dabble in those energies and play their games and their stories. You don't have to. It's not, there's no rule that says you have to. There isn't. And you will be protected by the heavens. Again, as they said yesterday, you will be met in equal service of support of your health and your light. Do not compromise your light for anyone. Nobody. And every night you go to bed, clear your fields, cleanse your fields, and call everything that you are in as light. I honor my light. I am this. I am this. I am that I am. I am spirit. And my fields will be refined. I know what a manipulation is. I can see it. I can see it before it even comes. I got that. I've refined myself so much so. I got this. And how are we going to rework it? And how are we going to rebuild? And how are we going to rewrite human experience? Because as I said, and we offered in the entire experience of all beings, nobody is meant to control anybody. There is no control over anybody. Nobody's meant to dictate anything, and nobody's meant to say anything and anything that ever tells anybody what they should and should not do. Or pull them into this fishing reel. What are they called? Fishing and baiting? I don't know what they're called. And then they get roped into something where they're in it really deep, and they're like, I don't know how to get out of this. This is like a complete manipulation program where they're telling you what to do and telling you what to say and telling you how to manipulate your values as if it's okay to degrade someone, and then make it seem like it's okay, that they had justification in doing so. And that's how they strip away that value system and that moral system. Anytime you experience those experiences, those are mental manipulation programs that break away bit by bit by bit to make it seem as if demoralizing the sacredness of all life is okay. That there was a reason. There was an okay with that. There isn't. There's never an okay to degrade anything that is sacred. There just isn't. And so what are we believing in? What fishing programs are we believing in? So tune in, discern at whatever level that you may be manipulated or manipulating, and just let go of it, because it's a control issue. There is no one dictator. There is no one leader. There is no one group that is right. All things are perfect and true, but how to discern for you and yourself on where your energy fits and what you're going to invest and direct and engage in. And that's when each person is up to themselves saying, oh, it doesn't feel good for me anymore. Because the more that you ascend and wake up, you're going into grander, vaster, wider levels of freedom and liberation. And that's what our whole planet is aligning to. We're aligning to fifth dimensional exploration and expression of who we are as the experience of spirit. We're constant experience ourselves as vast experiences. And all things in between are perfect and true. But you now get to say, no, I'm pulling my energy out. I'm going here. Choice, free will, and choice. That is the number one law. Number one law, the right use of will. My will for my body, my will for my consciousness, my will for my creative expression. I hold access on all of it, and nothing can take away of it, and we will be supported absolutely every step of the way. Equal measure, equal measure, equal measure. That's also a law of balance. So just trust. Let go of every story. Start redirecting yourself and redesigning and recreating yourself, and absolutely be the joyful expression of who you are, and let nobody and nothing hold you back. Because your light is needed. Your light is in your field and ready to activate somebody standing right next to you, and you don't even know it, how much you affect them by your light. You have no idea that light code you're holding there, that you expressed this morning in a song or in a journal or in your poetry or in your creative blogging post, you have no idea how much your story, your inspiration of saying, I got through that, I can do it, you can too. You're lighting up your field, you're lighting up creation, you're lighting up the ripple of all benevolence. And there is no blaming and there is no shaming. We have all been a part of it over eons. And spirit will sort out the lessons for everybody. That's spirit's job. But your job is to absolutely start redesigning yourself and take no lower or lesser truth that you're going to fall into. Stand in your power. So that doesn't feel right for me. No, I can see the lie behind it. No, thank you. And disengage. Because if it's not being fed, it cannot continue. Just like a nasty program. That program is on there. It's going to continue going on if it's being fed. So again, supply and demand, and it's all energy. So direct your energy into what really feels good and just start creating anew. It's all meant to be there. It's all meant to be there. It's our process of evolution. It's our process of change. You can't get here without navigating everything in between. It's all perfect. But now you have a voice, and now you get to say, well, I'm going to change today because I'm not going to be okay with that. Yesterday I let it slide. I'm not going to let it slide anymore. That little red flag, that little trigger, I'm not going to let it slide anymore. No, these are my boundaries. They're just my boundaries. Can't touch me. I'm not going to be affected. Those stories are not even in my realm of experience. I've been through it, already experienced it, said goodbye, did a ceremony. It's done. Equal opportunity, equal gratitude. It's all about the vibration you hold in it. So let nothing hold you back. Clear away, clear away, clear away, clear away, clear away. You got this. Let your story be your highest level of courage to keep expanding, to keep refining, to keep assimilating to greater arts of who you are. You are the art, you are the song of spirit. You are the presentation of the heavens. So glisten, so shine, so express yourself, experience yourself anew every moment, every moment, every moment, because it helps the collective release the density held within that story, because you weren't the only one that was held in density of that story. If you were abused, if you were molested, if you were any type of story that you're hanging on to, there's others that were involved in it that need the release of those energies. They want to be forgiven. They want to release themselves from that story. And if you're hanging on to it without the clearing and the releasing of it and the healing of yourself in it, then that's still holding you in those energetic webs. So release it. Nothing holds anything over you anymore. Release the story and do great ceremonies of it. I honor you in the gratefulness. Wow, I'm so grateful for what you taught me. You taught me my most sacred experience, that I get to rip it off and say, wow, I'm the sacred child again. Thank you. I'm so honored I get to talk about this now, and nothing on the outside world ever affects you. Doesn't matter how much you're ridiculed, because you absolutely know that everything that you're saying in the light of spirit will absolutely come forward. At some point, some way, what you're saying will absolutely be truth, because it's truth for you. The systems and the energies and all that we're talking about at quantum scientific level, at quantum physics level, they'll have tools and they'll have experiences that will absolutely prove everything that I've talked about in the multiverse. They'll have tools for that. We don't now, but they will have. I'm okay. Every prophet does. Every prophet has to challenge what has ever been, because we're the ones that see heavens, and we're bringing heavens to earth. And it's not meant to look like a 3D experience. 3D experience is awesome and great. It's damaging and painful, yeah. But that's when you get the courage to say, I'm going to face it. I'm going to face it head on. All right. What's my hardest story? What's my hardest lesson? I'm going to face you today. You're not going to be held in my vibration anymore. I'm going to love you. I'm going to honor you. This was my vibration that I was entangled in, and I gave my power away to you. You don't have any power over me anymore. You hold no power over me. Not even a little bit. It's done. And Spirit's protecting you and honoring you in it. When you stand up for yourself and say, I am the value of who I am without this story, and with this story and gratitude and appreciation, I move through it, Spirit. I'm now the love and the acceptance and the appreciation of it. I value myself because I went through that. That's how powerful I am. I get to say I value myself even more through it. And so if I can come through it and I can help others come through their manipulations, come through their experiences of creative diversity and now furthering expressing themselves and healing their own bodies, it's been a great day. It's purposeful, it's powerful, it's profound. So you can do it. No, you can. We love you, dear lighted ones. We love you so much. Honor who you are as spirit. Come forward in the benevolence and the blessing of who you are as spirit. Own your sacred stories. Own your sacred body. Own your sacred creativity. Own your sacred knowing and your intuitiveness. Bless everybody in between, because they're all versions of you. They're all your brothers. They're all your sisters. They're all your sacred teammates on other stories and other realms. So just bless everybody. And let yourself be okay with saying no and cutting off the cords and moving on to other experiences. Because you get to. Those are your rights. And allow everybody their experience as you are allowed your experience. We love you, dear lighted ones, and we honor you so very much, and we thank you, the divine and holy creators that have been with us in these divine explorations of who we are and remembering who we are. And we thank the heavens and the councils and all of creation that are going through so many stories of surrendering subjugation on all vibrational levels. And these stories and your stories are a part of releasing subjugation at every vibrational level. And we thank you in refining who you are as spirit. You are magnificent, and I know it. Thank you.